Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're shifting gears a bit, moving from maybe the everyday mechanics of life to something, well, much deeper.
Yeah, we're diving into let's call them the divine mechanics. Spiritual leadership, guaranteed victory, that sort of thing.
And our source material today is pretty powerful stuff. It's a synthesis of theological teaching, mainly rooted in the book of Joshua.
That's right, Joshua primarily, but it pulls in related ideas from Isaiah and Jeremiah, too. It's really looking at, like, an instruction manual for stepping into a divine commission.
Okay, and the context is important here, right? This is right after Moses dies.
Exactly, a huge moment. The paramount leader is gone, and bam, there's this immediate transfer of authority to Joshua. No gap.
And the sources really focus on that immediate instruction, don't they?
They do. They zero in on this core idea. The death of a leader, even a great man of God. It doesn't stop God's plan. The work continues.
But maybe with a new type of servant needed.
That seems to be the implication. The plan moves forward, but Joshua has a specific brief.
So our mission for this deep dive is to really boil this down. What are the core pillars of success that this material lays out for what it calls God's commissioned servants?
Yeah, and it presents them as absolutes, not just helpful hints.
Right. So what are we looking at? Three main things.
3 pillars, basically. First, the conditions you need to meet to actually get the inheritance. Second, this mandatory requirement for courage. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, conditions and courage.
And third, the promise that comes with it, this constant kind of supernatural companionship that makes the whole thing possible.
All right, let's jump into that first one then. The conditional command for possession. This sounds like, well, like there's fine print on the promise.
You could say that. It makes it really clear that just having the promise isn't the same as possessing it. Action is required.
Okay, so how does that work?
The foundation is right there in Joshua 1, verse 3. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you.
The sole of your foot. That's specific.
Very specific. And the sources point out the scale of what was promised to Joshua initially. I mean, the geography is huge. From the wilderness, Lebanon, over to the Euphrates River, all the Hittite land, right to the Mediterranean.
Wow, that's a massive territory. But the catch is the treading part.
That's exactly how the source interprets it. You might hold the title deed, so to speak, but you only actively possess the parts where you physically plant your feet.
So it's conditional on that specific action.
Precisely. You only get the bit of the promised land your foot actually treads on, and the spiritual application drawn from this is, well, it's pretty direct.
How do they apply it today?
This treading upon, in the modern sense, according to these teachings, is interpreted as the collective, almost aggressive action of planting churches, establishing ministries in different physical locations.
So going out and setting up shop, basically. That's how you possess the land now.
That's the interpretation, yes. It moves beyond just personal faith into operational expansion.
And this is where this source makes a pretty bold claim about what happens spiritually when that treading occurs.
It does. It's quite radical. The teaching asserts that when commissioned servants do this, plant ministries, step onto the ground, claim it, this action actually causes evil spirits, Satan, even occult practitioners in those places to relocate. Literally
relocate, like pack their bags and leave.
That's the language used, a literal relocation. It's presented as a kind of spiritual dominance.
That's a strong view. How does the source square that with, the ongoing nature of spiritual conflict? It often feels like opposition doesn't just disappear.
Well, the material seems to frame it as a sort of zero-sum game for territory. If you claim it correctly, the opposition can't stay.
And the promise of invincibility is tied into this.
Directly. Look at verse 5 in Joshua 1. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. And then the reason, as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee.
Okay, so the treading action activates that promise of invincibility.
That's the connection the source makes. Active claiming leads to the assurance that opposition just can't hold its ground against you.
Action first, then the guaranteed backing. And the sources bring in other scriptures to support this, right?
Yeah.
Like Hebrews.
Yes. They connect it forward to Hebrews 13.5, that famous line, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. And also backward to Psalm 2, verse 8.
Which one is that?
Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
Ah, okay. So asking and treading are linked to receiving the inheritance, which includes the people.
Exactly. The overall message synthesized is, the promise exists, but it needs specific, physical, directional action to activate it. You step out to ask, you step out to tread, and you claim the inheritance.
Okay, that sets the stage really clearly. If action is the first pillar, it leads straight into the second because, well, you can't act without it. Let's talk about the mandate for courage and the danger of weakness.
Right. If the first condition is what you do, the second is how you are, your attitude.
And this is where that famous phrase comes in.
Repeatedly. Be strong and of a good courage. It's hammered home 3 times just in Joshua chapter 1, verses 6, 7, and 9. That repetition is significant.
Why so much emphasis? What's the source's take on that?
It's not just friendly advice like chin up. The source argues that because God commands strength and courage.
Then you must have the ability to obey.
Precisely. The servant inherently possesses the wherewithal to be strong. God doesn't command the impossible. So it's not something you need to go find. It's something you already have and need to, well, activate.
That definitely reframes it. Courage isn't just a virtue. It's a required, available capacity you have to switch on.
Yes, an operational capacity. And the flip side, according to the sources, is that not using it. Well, the cost is huge.
How huge?
Total failure of the mission, basically. If that courage is missing, the source talks about weakness setting in, vision getting blurry, revelation becoming cloudy.
So confusion and ineffectiveness.
And maybe the most damaging thing, any knowledge or truth you have becomes useless. It just sits there if you don't have the courage to act on it. Courage is the bridge, between knowing and possessing.
So without courage, even the smartest theologian is rendered incompetent in this context.
That's the implication. Weakness cancels out knowledge in terms of effectiveness.
Okay, so if courage is the essential fuel, how is it generated? The source mentions 2 key things for prosperity and success, beyond just being told to be brave.
Right. The first is strict obedience, observing and doing according to all the law, not turning to the right hand or to the left. That keeps the mission framework solid.
Structure and discipline.
And the second is internal. It's meditating on this book of the law day and night. This deep, constant focus is presented as the way to build that confidence, that courage. It turns head knowledge into gut-level certainty.
Okay, meditation fuels courage, which enables action. And this is where the source brings in some pretty extraordinary examples from later in Joshua, right? Chapter 10.
Yeah, this is where it gets really dramatic. To illustrate the kind of power that flows from this mandated courage.
We're talking about the sun standing still.
Exactly. It's stunning. Joshua 10, verses 12 to 14. Joshua is in battle, and he commands the sun and the moon to stop, and they do, for about a whole day.
I mean, that's hard to process.
Yeah.
A person telling the sun and moon to wait while they finish a fight.
It's cosmic, but the source uses this less as just history and more as direct encouragement.
How so?
It's presented as proof that the commissioned servant, operating with this divine courage, has the authority to command every hindrance out of your way, and they will move.
So if the sun obeys, then surely smaller obstacles.
Exactly. Financial problems, logistical snags, difficult people, they should all move aside when commanded with that same authority. That's the takeaway.
Wow. And then right after that, there's another striking image, the feet on the necks.
Yeah, the 5 defeated kings. Joshua tells his captains to come and put their feet right on the necks of these kings.
Which seems brutal, but the source sees it differently.
It's interpreted as a prophetic act, not just about humiliation, but a physical demonstration of what God will do to all enemies they fight against, a sign of absolute, guaranteed dominance.
Okay, so we have conditional action, mandatory courage, which leads us to the third pillar, the payoff maybe, constant companionship and supernatural deliverance.
You could see it that way. It's the ultimate assurance that makes the action and the courage sustainable. The core promise, repeated from Joshua 1, verses 5 and 9, is simple. God will be with the servant wherever they go.
That constant presence is the key.
It's everything. It's the engine behind that promise, no man be able to stand before thee. Without that unwavering presence, the action and courage would presumably falter.
And it's not just about, like, military backup. The source mentions something about influencing people, too.
Yes, that's a crucial part of the companionship, apparently. The promise includes God actively bending the hearts and minds of the people towards you.
Bending hearts and minds. Why is that important?
Well, the source connects it to preventing internal problems, making sure that people don't revolt or try to run the servant out of their calling. It suggests God will ensure the servant has the support they need from within the community.
So external and internal support is guaranteed. Then the imagery gets even more intense, especially looking at Isaiah 41.
It really does. The source points to Isaiah 41, verse 10. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee. Standard reassurance, maybe. But then...
The servant becomes a tool, a weapon.
Exactly. The identity seems to shift. The servant is transformed, made into a new, sharp threshing instrument having teeth.
A threshing instrument, like for grain. But this one has teeth and takes on mountains.
That's the image. Capable of threshing mountains, beating hills small, scattering them like chaff. It's an image of overwhelming destructive power against huge obstacles.
Okay, that sounds pretty aggressive. How did that fit with ministry? Planting churches, the constructive side. A threshing instrument mainly destroys.
Well, the source synthesizes this using Jeremiah, chapter 1, verses 7 through 10. It outlines a dual commission given to the servant.
Dual, meaning
the work God puts in their mouth includes both destruction and creation. There's a mandate to root out and to pull down and to destroy and to throw down. That's the threshing work.
clearing the ground.
Right, but it's immediately followed by the mandate to build and to plant. So the destruction is necessary before the building can happen. You have to tear down the old opposition before you can plant the new thing.
Got it. The threshing instrument clears the space for building. It's a two-step process.
And the sources wrap up with these absolute guarantees of deliverance. Total certainty. Enemies shall not prevail against thee. That's Jeremiah 1:19.
No prevailing against them.
Deliverance from the wicked, from the terrible, quoting Jeremiah 15:21, and maybe most powerfully, redemption from the power that was actually stronger than the servant, Jeremiah 31:1.
Stronger than them. So God overcomes even odds that seem impossible.
That confirms the transformation idea. The servant starts weaker, but through the commission and companionship becomes the stronger vessel.
Preserved right to the end.
All the way. The source cites 2 Timothy 4:18, preserved unto his heavenly kingdom. So it's not just about success on earth, but ultimate, eternal security based on fulfilling the commission.
Wow. Okay, this has been quite a deep dive, unpacking a very specific, very potent theological framework. Let's try to synthesize this for everyone listening.
Sounds good.
So as the source presents it, the formula for success, for fulfilling this divine commission, it really hinges on three things you absolutely have to do. First, there's the action.
Right, that condition of actually treading upon the territory. You have to physically move and claim it. It's not passive.
Second, the attitude. That uncompromising courage.
Yeah, and remember, it's presented not as optional, but as mandatory. A capacity you're commanded to use because you inherently have it. It's the fuel.
The fuel that turns knowing into doing, into possessing. And third, if you do those first two things, the result is guaranteed.
That's the promise, a radical transformation. The servant becomes this supernatural agent, the threshing instrument.
Able to handle massive obstacles like commanding time itself, ensuring victory, clearing the way to destroy the old and build the new.
Yeah, success in this view is completely tied to obeying these specific instructions and maintaining that attitude of relentless strength.
So that shift from being potentially the weaker vessel to becoming this stronger vessel, the agent of destruction and creation that feels like the core transformation.
It does. And if that primary command repeated over and over is be strong and courageous, and the source insists, hey, this means the power is already available to you.
Then that leaves a pretty pointed question for you, the listener, doesn't it?
I think so.
If that first foundational step is actively claiming territory by treading upon it, what specific action, maybe even a small action, what piece of territory in your life or calling do you need to actively step out and claim today to start activating this huge inheritance the source material describes?
That command for strength isn't just a suggestion. According to this, it's a declaration of the capacity you already possess. What will you do with it?